share on Facebook. Friday on Fox News Channel's The Ingraham Angle, host Laura Ingraham gave her take on the indictments handed down by special counsel Robert Mueller's probe regarding interference in the 2016 presidential election. Ingraham told viewers the indictments illustrated how Russia was still a threat to the United States despite then-President Barack Obama's dismissal during the 2012 presidential election. She also said Mueller should interview 2016 Democratic Party presidential nominee Hillary Clinton, former Secretary of State John Kerry, former National Security Advisor Susan Rice, former Deputy National Security Advisor Ben Rhodes and former President Barack Obama as part of his investigation. Partial transcript as follows: Ingraham, we finally have indictments in the Mueller investigation related to meddling in the 2016 election, and the only ones being charged are Russians. A federal grand jury has now indicted 13 Russian individuals and companies for interfering in the 2016 election. They are charged with a bunch of things like creating fake ads, staging pro- and anti-Trump campaign events and also setting up bogus run organizations, but they're not accused of rigging the election for Trump, but instead of waging information warfare to sow discord in the political system. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein announced the indictments and added this important caveat. Begin video clip. Rod Rosenstein, Deputy Attorney General, there is no allegation in this indictment that any American was a knowing participant in this illegal activity. There is no allegation in the indictment that the charged conduct altered the outcome of the 2016 election. And video clip. Ingraham, did you hear that? No American knowingly took part in the meddling, and the plot had no effect on the outcome of the election. The facts, as we know them right now, support the president's argument, an argument we have been making on this show for months, that there was no Russian collusion. Trump took a bit of a victory lap, tweeting today, Russia started their anti-U.S. campaign in 2014, long before I announced that I would run for president. The results of the election were not impacted. The Trump campaign did nothing wrong. No collusion. Well, it certainly looks that way, but we don't know for sure what else Mueller may have up his sleeve. Though, I'll tell you who this totally vindicates. Conservatives and Republicans who have been warning people for years about how devious the Russians can be in this situation. Remember, when President Obama sarcastically mocked Mitt Romney's Russia warning back in 2012 during the presidential debate. Begin video clip. Former President Barack Obama, when you're asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia. Not Al-Qaeda, you said Russia. In the 1980s or now, calling to ask for their foreign policy back because the Cold War has been over for 20 years. And video clip. Ingraham, now, Obama was so convinced of that, his DOJ and FBI did next to nothing about the Russian skullduggery. I love that word. His State Department actually approved the visas for the Russian operatives that were indicted by Mueller today. His FBI began spying on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page with a visa warrant in the fall of 2016. Now details in today's indictment do point to vindication for the Trump team. This is Jonathan Turley from tonight's special report. Begin video clip. Jonathan Turley, this makes more sense than the narratives that everyone has been throwing around in conspiracies. This began in 2014, began before the presidential election. The Russians were taking targets of opportunity and shooting at everybody in the election, but certainly working more against Hillary Clinton. But what it does show is that they did a really quite impressive job in finding this cyber trail to those individuals. And video clip. Ingraham, I'll say. And the indictment describes rallies that took place after the election, both in support of and against Trump, and by the way, some of them happened on the same day, all allegedly promoted by these Russian accounts. You see this ad? Well, according to BuzzFeed, this anti-Trump rally is staged just 4 days after the election was promoted by something called Black Matters US, a social media campaign thought to be organized by Russians. So, why would Trump collude with Russians to stage anti-Trump rallies? Does that make any sense? Here's the bottom line. The Trump campaign did not know about Russian interference in the election. but the Obama administration certainly did and may have in fact enabled it. Given that we already know Hillary Clinton's campaign and the DNC paid for that fake Russian dossier, it's time for the special counsel to interview Hillary Clinton, John Kerry, Susan Rice, Ben Rhodes, and maybe even Barack Obama. I say it's high time that we determine who really colluded with the Russians. What do you think about this? Comment below. Share on Facebook.